good. Can we talk about, like, Westworld here instead of something else?
No, we only have like
so
5
good.
minutes.
I know, we only have 5 minutes, so let's talk about Westworld.
I will talk with you about it. Happy 10th year on the show.
Thank you. It's actually going to be my 11th, but
Well,
your math
your
is
your
lame.
10-year anniversary of your first episode is this September.
My 10-year anniversary is in
Of your first episode.
is the first episode that airs.
Yeah. Well, no,
In
September
September.
18th is when your first episode aired, 2008.
When does the show start airing?
October 14th. So, so what is Cass doing this season? How's he feeling?
Cass is, it's a kind of an interesting question. I haven't reflected on this. It's rare for Cass, but he's starting the season, in spite of the photos that I wasn't supposed to post that I posted. He is starting the season in good health and at pretty close to full power and with a mission that he cares about. So which is we're trying to rescue Dean.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, this season, Dean is not going to be a central character. He's on the peripheral. Jensen is only working 1 day a week this year, so we won't be seeing much of him. I think the audience will be relieved by that. This is like a White House press briefing. It's all misinformation.
Just make sure.
Just make it up.
Do you think you're happy for getting a central location on the bag sister?
Oh, that was very exciting. Yeah, I think that's my first time making the bag.
So we've got 20 episodes this season.
Mm-hmm.
Is your episode count going to be the same this season as last year? So we'll see like a higher percentage of episodes?
I think we will see me in a higher percentage of episodes, yes.
That'll make people very happy.
Yeah.
You directed an episode quite a few years back now.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any ambitions to do that again?
Yes, I have. I think I will soon ask for another directing slot. I have a lot of other projects that I work on the side, and I fill up my time with those. And directing takes a lot of time. It takes it's full time for like 3.5 weeks, and it's just been like, do I really want to spend 3.5 extra weeks on Supernatural? I love Supernatural, but that has been the challenge. But I love the experience, and I'd love to do it again.
And can we expect a special episode like this Scooby-Doo? And what could be the special episode this season?
You should ask Andrew and Bob that question. I think that the 300th episode will be kind of unusual, but it sounds like we have one other episode that's a little weird in the sort of Scooby spectrum, end of the spectrum. But I do know that Andrew has been trying to figure out another crossover, like full-on crossover episode, and it's very challenging because getting all of the powers that be to agree to the rights for that kind of thing takes a certain special elixir to make it happen. I don't think I should tell you what he's tried to go after, but he's attempted to get a few really great properties for crossover that I thought were great ideas.
Hello.
What's happening?
Not much. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Almost done?
Oh yeah.
Almost, you're our last
Yeah.
one.
Really?
Yes, you're always my last.
Oh, this
Save the
is
best for last. Yep.
making me blush. What's happening?
So are we going to see Dean at all, or is it all Michael? Are we going to see like you talking to yourself? And if so, did Misha offer to teach you an accent?
Well, judging from Misha's performance last year, I opted to not go with any accent this year. You're welcome. No, I didn't want to venture too far into like doing something different. There are subtleties that I'm attempting to do different. Hopefully, you'll pick up on those. I just had somebody down there say there was something different about him, and I was like, yes.
It was, and the Arabic was amazing.
Yeah, that was hard. I'm not kidding. Like, I didn't want to mess that up. That was a verse from the Quran, so I didn't want to mess that up at all. And I had a coach there with me that day, and I essentially learned it right then and there. But it was it's been challenging in the fact that I'm playing this character who's totally different, but I'm doing it in the environment that I've been playing another character in for so long. So it's like coming home and trying to be somebody different. It's like you're surrounded by everything that makes you feel like this character. So to walk on that set and not just kind of instantly transform into Dean was more challenging than anticipated.
It's a slightly shorter season this year to give you guys a little more breathing room.
Yeah.
If it were possible, would you consider doing an even shorter season, something more like Cable, where it's 13 episodes? Is that something you might think might
I would
happen?
love that. Oh, that's like heaven. Yeah, we could go for 30 more seasons if we do that. Yeah, we did talk about it. We did, and that was a big discussion with the network and the studio, mainly the network, because they're the ones that need the content in order to sell it for programming and all that kind of stuff. And so there was that conversation of like how little can we go and still make it the story sustainable, but also monetarily makes sense for the studio. And 20 seemed to be the magic number, so that still gives them enough content to cover their basis. But yeah, I mean, well, the thing with like the cable shows is they also spend a little bit more time filming their episodes. So we're done with 13 episodes by the holidays, whereas they might spend 6-7 months doing 13 episodes. So yeah, it's that 18 to 20 episode. We'll see. It might be awesome. It's gonna, we're gonna be done a month earlier than normal. But I also think it's gonna do something else with the writing. Is 23 episodes. That's a long haul. It's a marathon, and everybody's got to pace themselves, including the writers, and they have to kind of make sure that they're spreading that story out and dishing it out in certain portions to sustain the whole length of the season. So now that it's a bit more of a concentrated season, I think the episodes and the storylines are going to be a little bit more intense and concentrated. So I'm hoping for the best on that part.
And really quick, do you have any plans on distributing for family business, like nationwide, so we can try your beer?
No plans right now, but it's obviously, those are things to discuss in the near future, yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh.
That's cool.
Thank you.
How long did it take?
6 hours, I'm sorry. 4 hours initially, and then 6 hours.
Okay. Jeez, rad. Hi, guys.
Hi. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good.
So, how jealous is Jensen that you get to keep the hiatus here and he has to shake?
Super jealous. But by the way, this is not my hiatus beer.
Oh, no.
Just to pat myself on the back a little bit. That's my hiatus beer.
Wow. Nice.
I'm very proud of myself.
Wow.
So this was trimmed for Comic-Con.
No, it's trimmed for the show. Yeah, we started filming July 10th. So, but I had a full, which is great because I'm like, sweet, it grows. But it sucked because it grows in summer in Austin. So it's miserably hot. I started going, this is maybe TMI, but I started going like, it stinks, man. Oh, I have to shampoo my beard because it's long enough that to like shampoo, not just use soap in it. So, yeah, he's very jealous.
So we talked in the panel about how Sam is taking on a leadership role sort of among all these hunters and refugees from the apocalypse world. So how is that going to go? Is he sort of leading an army to search for Dean, or?
Yeah, ish. I think Sam understands that these apocalypse world hunters also have dealt with Michael, right? Because Michael came over from Apocalypse World. So they have as much of a bone to pick with Michael, if not more, than Sam does. But I think the Apocalypse World hunters, through no fault of their own, they want to kill Michael, not save Dean. They want to save Dean, sure. I mean, but they don't know Dean. They've known Dean for a little bit to try and get out of Apocalypse World. They're more want to kill the guy who destroyed the planet. So Sam is, I think, trying to get to Dean and extract Michael, as opposed to just kill the entire, the vessel and the possessing angel. But in the meantime, while Sam searches for Dean, he also has to kind of explain the day-to-day of how Earth works, how to get on how to hack into a traffic light, to figure out what the vampire is doing in Iowa or whatever. So I think he's trying to kind of explain the logistics of how to live in the bunker, where the toilet is, like where to buy toilet paper in town. So he's a very busy guy right now. Too busy to shave, as you noticed. But, yeah.
It's a slightly shorter season this year to give you guys a little more breathing room.
Yeah, I'm glad that was clarified, because I think when they announced that it was 20 episodes, I was hearing some chatter, some concern that it was CW writing us off the show or WB writing us off, but it's certainly not. It was a discussion.
And if it were possible, would you consider it, being scaled down further, something more like a cable show, 13 episodes?
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes. I think for me it'd be whatever is the best length of time, and we're just giving this a shot, right? 23 is a bit difficult with 3 young kids in a foreign country. I know it's Canada, but it's still time zones and travel and this and that, and kids who are in school. My oldest will be going to first grade, which is school. You can't just yank them out. Like if it's babysitting or daycare, you can go like, all right, see you in a month. We're going to Vancouver. You can't really do that right now. However long the season needs to be to tell the proper season's storyline, and we'll see what happens this year. Maybe even this year we're like, man, I don't think we really got enough time to explore, and we consider going back to 22 or maybe 23, but breaking it up somehow or another. But sure, yeah, I do a shorter season, whatever. Again, I don't know how long the writers need, and that luckily, the arc of a season for me luckily doesn't fall into my purview. Like how long it needs to be. I just know I want to see my family more and all that. So if it gets to the point where they're like, hey, we need at least 15 to tell a proper year story, or at least 18, or we can't do less than 20, then that's a discussion we'll figure out at the end of this year. But I'm certainly excited. I think it's going to be nice, concise. I think we can cut the fat. There's always, I don't know who it was who said this, but one of our writers or showrunners, I don't know if it was Kripke, but was like, what, if you go up to bat 22 times, you're going to have some strikeouts, So the less you go, the more likely you are to every episode is on it. It's almost like the last 5 episodes of a season, where every episode something's going on. It's like the stakes are raising, shit's hit the fan. Hopefully having a shorter season will make everything, the quality even better. We'll see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it going to feel like a third wheel having Jack around?
I don't think so. I think no more than it was when Cass first came around. You know what I mean? It was different. No, I mean, like it wasn't unwelcome. It was unusual, but it wasn't such gentle yet passionate fingers. I think Sam is sort of the mindset, the more the merrier, and I think Dean really is too. Dean's a loner in some senses, and so is Sam. But I have my room at the bunker if I need to escape. I think Sam legitimately cares about Jack, legitimately cares about Cass, legitimately cares about Mom and Bobby and Charlie and this and that. So for Sam, I think as long as everybody's safe, I think he's probably the more the merrier.
Oh. Whoa! Have you shown people your tattoos?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's cool.
Thank you.
That's a full out one. All right.
Yep. So,
Yes.
how's Jack doing with this power down?
Not great. I think as we've seen on the show, the characters are always forced to confront things and deal with a ton of losses. So Jack is definitely in the throes of that.
Is he going to continue to connect with Mary at all? Does he have that great connection?
He's probably going to write her off. He's going to be like, no more talking, nothing. No, now that she's back in our world, there's this amazing opportunity for Jack to have these new relationships that he's built in Apocalypse World and now gets to bring back home. So we're going to see Jack interacting with all these characters. Mary, we're going to see Bobby. So yeah, but back on our home turf. Yeah.
What can you say about his relationship with Cass this season in the early going and how that develops?
Jack and Cass definitely have a very special connection. Though that sounded weird. That sounded. Okay.
You don't do weird in this fandom.
Yeah, see you guys. No, but we're going to see that relationship explored a lot more, especially with their celestial connection. we're gonna keep working on that relationship and see where that goes, and push it a little further this season than we did last year.
How's his relationship with Sam going to change per se?
I don't know if it will change per se at this point. I think both Sam and Jack are very focused on finding Dean/Michael. And that's kind of their central thing right now, is driving towards that and trying to save Dean.
So are we going to see Jack in more of a hunter role? And if so, are there any monsters that you're excited about confronting?
No.
No.
They said at the panel today, they're like, what monster would you like most to see them fight? I mean, I don't know. We get to see so many of them that are like fun. We had like Norse gods. We always have demons. We had, the vampires, the werewolves. I liked the werewolves last season. They were fun. They had the fangs. They got shot. It was good.
Wouldn't you want to look face to face with like a shapeshifter? That's kind of add one.
Yes. What's funny about the show is everybody eventually ends up playing like multiple parts. We have Apocalypse Misha, and we have Misha in a room by himself. So I think for me it would be fun to interact. Actually, I always thought about a Jack that wasn't born into the Winchesters, that had like a normal life. I always thought that would be interesting for Jack to meet. Yeah, or like regular childhood Jack. That would be cool. He gets to like play with Legos instead of hunting things.
Try Groundhog Jack.
Bill Murray Jack, something like that.
Would you like to tease about what?
Seeing our characters adjust to new roles. We're going to see Cass have to be more of a hunter. Dean is obviously far away from himself right now. And then Sam kind of dealing with all the new hunters and the apocalypse people. So having all those new things, we're going to see all these characters take on different roles, for Jack included.
One of the more interesting dynamics sometimes in these kind of shows is to see if people really pursue relationships out of love or out of like power. What do you think Jack's motivation is?
I think Jack's motivation has always been love, definitely not power. I don't think he's looking for much power. I think he's just trying to fit in.
Yeah, but he's around a lot of power all the time.
I guess, yeah. He never chose any of it though, so I don't know. Yeah. I think he's operating from a good place. I'm hopeful for now, until the show flips me on my head. Yeah.
Are we going to see our Lord Tyrion cameo that we've all been working?
He doesn't really leave the apartment.
Sure, it must be so fun to get him into a car.
He hates it. He's like major anxiety, so there's no way he can like leave. Yeah, so I don't think he will be doing a cameo. Although that would be great.
That would be great.
If we could just hang out all day, that would be awesome.
That would be really fun that episode.
I would watch
narrate
that.
it.
That's my life outside of the show, so yeah.
If you guys don't follow his cat's Instagram, it's like the best thing.
I have an Instagram for my cat.
Sorry.
It's the yeah. If you guys have 5 minutes and want to be amused. Yeah.
What's the cat's Instagram?
His name is the Lord Tyrion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's very moody. So you gotta watch out for him.
It sounds like you guys got some Game of Thrones Westworld kind of stuff going on there behind the scenes.
He's a bit of an asshole. It's just like he's very demanding. So I think it was only right that he considered himself a lord.
We get the wrap up.
A monologue of spoilers.
That's right. Okay.
What can we expect from episode 300?
Episode 300, I think, it's interesting because episode 100 was really just a normal episode of Supernatural. It was a myth episode, but there was nothing really like meta about it. 200 went very much the opposite direction, where it was kind of all meta. I think the idea we have for the 300 occupies a little bit of a middle ground. The idea is basically, kind of what we want to look at is Sam and Dean live in the, two guys have been without a home for their whole lives. They live in this bunker. This bunker, as we know, is in Lebanon, Kansas. We've actually never gone into Lebanon and seen what the people of Lebanon think about these guys who drive this muscle car, come in like covered in blood like the dry cleaner to get things taken care of. So it's a way to kind of look at our guys through a kind of a different lens and the life they lead in a way that I think hopefully it's not written yet, may really suck. but will hopefully be kind of a love letter to the show and a love letter to you guys through some different point of views of the people who really are their neighbors, even though we've never really met them.
And Misha talked about some other crossover episodes, so what we can expect?
I don't know that we're going to do like a straight crossover episode. The Scooby-Doo thing was very special for us and worked in a lot of ways. I think the number of shows that can realistically cross over with Supernatural is very low. Like a Sabrina the Teenage Witch Supernatural crossover would be over really quick. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be like that much of a story. And the same thing about a number of other shows. And obviously mixing genres in crossovers doesn't work that well. So like a crossover with Arrow is not going to work out for us. You know what I mean? So I don't know that we're going to do any straight crossovers. I think that what we want to do is just kind of keep exploring our guys and like. We have an episode that's not a straight crossover, but it very much explores one of Dean's kind of childhood passions, let's put it that way, but brings us some pop culture things we haven't seen before.
With the slightly shorter episode count, is that going to be the new normal, do you think, going forward, or could it even go shorter in future?
I don't know. That's really kind of dependent on the guys. I think that we live in a world where, most shows that come on television or Netflix or whatever you want to call it are very short orders. You know what I mean? To do 20 even is unusual. There were network shows that do 18, you know what I mean? So we're still doing quite a few. Could it drop down further? It certainly could. I would not expect it to go back up, but we've certainly had no indication that it's going to go down X amount, you know what I mean? It could, but I couldn't answer that question.
What kind of monsters are we going to be seeing this year?
I think, we're going to be seeing, in some ways, our old standby monsters, vampires, werewolves, shapeshifters, but I think through various machinations, we're going to see different versions of them. They're not going to be kind of the same ones we've seen before. They're going to be kind of, let's say, changed by one way or another.
How is the dynamic between Cass and Sam going to change now, kind of Dean from that Dean?
I think, they're working together more as peers. And I think you've got a cast who, again, they're all very motivated to finding and things like that. But Sam has really stepped into a leadership role, and I think Cass is someone who is okay with that. Like, he respects Sam, you know what I mean? He respects Dean as well. But Sam's been an evolution. Sam's a journey Sam has been on for quite a while now, and it really kind of comes more into focus this season.
Are we going to see more familiar? We talked in the panel about more familiar faces. Are we going to have more interesting combinations? Like, I know a lot of people want Cass to meet the Wayward Girls,
right,
and that sort of combination.
I think those things are always on the table. I think we're sometimes limited by, again, with the shorter episode count, that's been a little harder. We are also sometimes limited by budget to do that kind of stuff. But it's certainly something we want to, and it's always fun when people who have a life on the show that I've never met meet again and things like that. And we certainly have characters who, Jack, people like that, who a lot of the characters have not met. So I think that's something we do want to explore as the season goes forward.
How are you going to be pushing out the female roles for this next season?
I hope to continue what we've done the previous seasons. You know what I mean? As we go through, even as we're talking, like, who are the characters that are coming back? Like, other than Bobby, like, it's not a lot of it's not a guy-heavy list. You know what I mean? So for us, it's important whether the character's female or male. When they come back, we just need to see a new side of them, and I thought that was very well done by Davey last season in the Donna-centric episode, where she came back and you saw this character that had been largely kind of bubbly comic relief for 3 or 4 years at that point, came back and we were able to tell a really kind of dark, dramatic, emotional story about her. That's always what we want to do. You know what I mean? You don't want to ever bring somebody back just so they can wave at the camera and walk off and you get the points of bringing them back, but they don't really change as characters. We always want these characters to change. Yeah.
Is Lucifer really dead?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Lucifer is in the empty, as all angels and demons go where they die.
Speaking about the 20 episodes again, how does that shape the story differently, having a slightly shorter?
I think we have to be a little less complex in our mythology, which isn't always a bad thing. And then I think we have to, we end up dropping out a couple of what would be kind of more classic standalone episodes, just to accommodate that. But our hope is that the rhythm of the season, which again has largely been half myth, half standalone, stays about the same.
I'm a little tired.
So, you and Eugenie last year, you brought back a character that you guys kind of killed a few years ago. You brought back Charlie. Are we going to see more of Charlie? And are we going to see Charlie and Rowena's road trip?
I would love to see Charlie and Marina's road
So
trip.
would
That would be wonderful. It's discussed. It has not yet happened, but I would love to see that. And yeah, we're going to see a good deal of Charlie. You know, and it's strange for the guys because to look at her, they just can't help falling back into old patterns and treating her like this kid sister that they are still grieving. And yet this person is her own person. She is not a mirror image of Charlie, which she aggressively points out. She did a little bit last season. So yeah, we'll see quite a lot.
We have that same problem with Bobby, who will also be, I'm assuming, around the season?
Yeah, but to a lesser degree, because I think he kind of falls into that natural mentor role. You know, for some reason, he has an affinity for Sam and Dean, probably because they do what he does. They've been where he's been. And so yeah, but we're going to see a lot of Bobby. That was not a tease. That was not just to get him through, just in case we wanted to use him. He actually has a role and steps right into the team. So it's kind of nice to see that dynamic again.
What can we expect with the core characters as far as the changes? Clearly, Dean's will change most initially, but what can we expect?
Well, you know, if you really look at it, Jack is a human being who's been on the planet for maybe a year, and has had zero human experiences ever since. You know, from the get-go, he was this supernatural, amazing force that had to be channeled because he was so incredibly powerful. He could be destructive. All of that's been taken away. He is not the biggest badass in the room anymore. So how do you go from that just to being a regular guy who has no experience being on the planet? So that's a huge shift. Castiel is going to become more custodial of Jack. He's going to kind of mentor him because he's also lost all of his power, so he knows what that feeling is like. And so he has, just because by dint of being an angel and Jack used to be an archangel, he kind of knows what that's like. So he's going to step into the shoes that Sam and Dean were kind of filling, just trying to channel Jack's powers. Cass is going to try to lift this kid up, because you can imagine the despondency of just losing all of that and how do I fit in, and thinking, gee, I don't fit in. And Cass has got to kind of pull him back up, because Sam is not unavailable, but he's preoccupied with saving his brother.
Is Mary going to be involved with that as well? Because she and Jack had a really beautiful relationship last season.
I missed the first second part.
Is Mary going to be involved with Jack, or is she going to be part of the group looking for Dean? Or?
Right now, she is part of the team looking for Dean. That core team group is going to be Sam, Bobby, and Mary at the outset. And there are things that Cass has to do back at the bunker that are going to be yet revealed. So, yeah, she's very much part of that effort.
Where's Rowena in all of this?
Rowena comes back in, I can't remember what episode, but she becomes very actively involved, because there's a whole plot thing that's about to unfold that she's going to become instrumental in, actually. So, yeah, she's going to be a player for us this year.
We were talking about it a little bit before, but how do you think having a slightly shorter episode run might affect the storytelling?
Having the 20 versus the 23? Well, you know, it's 20 that you can focus on versus 23, which I think inevitably means that the storytelling is going to be probably more concise and more pulled together. I think, from what I can gather, some of the fan complaint is that occasionally some of the episodes feel disjointed. They don't feel like they're part of the whole tapestry. And I think there'll be less of that this year. I think that the myth arc is going to run through even episodes that are the standalones. So I think it's going to affect that. And you'll probably see a slightly more rested cast and crew. May affect fewer bags under the eyes.
Misha kind of teasingly said that Jensen would only be working one day a week for these episodes now. Is there going to be like a significant capacity appearance of Jensen?
Not so you're going to notice. I mean, I think leads of series, you can just run them ragged, and you can forget that you're actually dealing with human beings, and they start ending up in every scene, which means they're working every day, and these are long hours. So I think by guaranteeing them a little bit more time off, it's only going to benefit the show in that you're going to get fresh as a daisy Sam and Dean. But there's a way of ganging their scenes together so that even though they may be working 3 days, you get a lot of scenes done that way that are then pieced out through the show. So I think there's not going to be a feeling of their absence.
Can you tease at all how long we're going to have Michael around?
No.
I had to try.
Michael's going to be around long enough to be a really legitimate threat, because he has to build his forces, build his strategy and find a way to do what he did masterfully in the other world, except hopefully with less disastrous results. So, yeah, we'll see Michael for long enough.
Thank you very much.
On the panel, how we're going to be seeing some familiar faces. We've got Wayward Women coming back. Rowena.
Did they say that? Did they say that definitively, or were they winging what they
No, they said Jody.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, yeah,
And
that's
said Rowena.
Oh yeah.
And Brad talked about that Charlie's probably going to come back. So can you talk more about how those new and old faces are going to interact?
Well, I can tell you, Rowena, we were just finishing script. Brad and I think it's 6 or 7, and that's when she comes back. And we're writing her, and she plays a very pivotal part in this episode. She's not at the core of the problem, and the core of the solution. So I know about Rowena. I can't say as much about Kim because I think she bumps into an area that I'm not allowed to talk about.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's so hard to keep it straight what you can say and not.
Can we talk about the core of our cast, Sam and Dean and Cass? How are they doing?
Well, it's tough.
We have sort of a reversal, like at the beginning of last season, we had Sam and Dean really mourning Cass. We're going to see that sort of thing with Cass and Sam. Feeling that same way about Dean, or are they more action?
I think they're more action. I mean, they refuse to accept anything. So the mission is, yes, keep the hunters in line. Sam takes that job very seriously. He's the leader of the hunters, but getting Dean back is their mission. For the beginning of the season, that's the goal. That's part of the goal. The other part I can't tell you about. And Cass has very much taken over a mentoring, paternal role with Jack. Sorry? Oh, you mean Jack and Cass?
Jack and Cass.
No, I don't think it is. No, it's not lighthearted. In this particular situation, it's very profound and sweet. And I mean, anytime we write a show, there's always elements of irreverence and stuff. And Cass, because he's such a literal character, you can get a lot of jokes from just the way he interprets things. But his situation with Jack will not be inherently funny. It'll be tough.
Go ahead.
Misha had mentioned he's going to have probably a larger role this season. Can you talk a little bit about where he's...
Well, it starts out because he becomes the de facto parent of Jack, so that's a big role. I think that's really what he's referring to, is that, he's in a lot of scripts, and not really a sidekick. He really is an actor, not just the guy, go answer the phone or go teleport. He can't teleport anymore, but he's got some. And he actually, in this other script we just finished, 7, he has a couple of really, really good scenes. So from his standpoint, I'm sure he'll be very happy. Yeah, and I like writing for him a lot. So it's.
Are we going to see Mr. Ketch some more? We saw him
I
coming
hope
back.
So. I haven't seen him in any of the breakdowns yet, but I think Ketch is a real asset for the show. I just love the way he interacts with everybody, and so yeah, I'm going to really lobby for Ketch and maybe Donatello. I'd like to bring Donatello back because he's trouble now. He's not doing well, but it's supernatural. You can always redeem somebody.
Speaking of, so Asmodeus is dead, Crowley's dead. Who's running Hell, and is that going to become an issue?
Okay, Hell's kind of like its own machine. We haven't talked about it because there are demons now. They're fallen angels and demons who keep the machinery of the place alive. In terms of a grand theoretical plan, is there someone who's got
somebody over the throne? Yeah.
This is butting into an area now that
sorry.
I'm trying to. I know it's not helpful, but quite talking. But there is a future in hell.
That's a great quote. There's a future in hell.
With Dean having such a personality change at the moment, who's driving the Apollo?
I think the Impala's not being driven by anybody. I mean, it's in dry dock until Dean is rescued. And when that happens, Dean will be behind the wheels. But we don't use the Impala, I don't think, in the first part of the season.
Are we going to see Sister or NIL Danielle's character back in any ways this season? She's one of the people.
Yes, you will see her.
She's the only Angels we have left.
Yes, we will see her. For sure.
Welcome to Save the Best Year. Welcome to
Absolutely.
the Buckner. So you're directing episode 300. Andrew teased a bit about what we're going to maybe see on it. Can you give us any other hints about it? That exists?
Andrew's the keeper of all the wisdom on that one. He's writing it. He's told whatever he's told you. I'm sure he knows more than I do. But basically, I think what we're talking about is what's their life like when they're not on the road, when they're in their hometown, and what does the hometown think of them, and who are these guys, so it'll be totally a different kind of episode, and but hopefully a love letter.
And are we going to be checking any more with the situation in heaven? Things were looking pretty dire up there at the end of last season.
We're gonna, it'll come to that. Not very early. I think we're going to play out the fact that heaven's not in great shape, and there are very few angels left on earth, and but that's not a main thrust in the first half. Michael is the immediate threat. I think what's happening with Jack. I think this season is probably smaller in scope than last year, but a little bit higher on emotion and the interpersonal relationships between everybody, and so it's. There'll obviously be the jump scares and all that we do, but I think it's a little more grounded in the emotion of the situations that they find themselves in this year.
Is that as a result of the shorter season? Is it more sort of grounded and slightly smaller in scope and tighter?
I'm not sure it's that. I mean, I think we'll do probably the same number of episodes, or give as much weight to the mythology of the year as we have in the past. Maybe the standalones will be a little different, or maybe the standalones will incorporate a lot of the myth in them this year. We're not concerned that we can't tell the story in 20 episodes. I mean, it's always at 23, which is kind of more than most shows do. Kind of spreading that out for us was always a bit of a struggle. You felt like you wanted to, when you got up to about episode 18, 19, you go, all right, you should be getting to it. Then you realize, you got 5 episodes left, So I think everybody's happy with 20 this year. Maybe the network's not, but we are.
You had a really interesting episode last season with Andrew. It was the noir episode. Are we going to have any more like meta or out of the box episodes?
I think we'll probably find one of those. That was a lot of fun writing an episode with Andrew, and we I'm not sure exactly how that idea started. I think we were just talking one day and talking about movies and whatever. And I said, well, maybe we should try to do an homage to to that kind of story, and I thought some of the characters in there were a lot of fun, and
love Dominic Burgess.
Yeah, and we spent more time. I think the dialogue scenes in that episode were probably longer than they normally are, because those kind of scenes played in Maltese Falcon or. So it was fun. It was fun to write. In a way, I kind of wished I had directed it because I love those movies, So I thought Man did a really nice job, and we were happy with it.
Thanks so much, guys.